Welcome to Keyword Crypto. This is Michael, and I have a guest from Banano. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, sounds good. My name's Oops. I'm here with Banano. I'm here to spread the memes and the dreams. Banano is essentially a meme coin fork of Nano that's being distributed for free through games, activities, and other fun kinds of things that we can think of that we've comically called proof of play. So, yeah, welcome.
I like that. So, but just I'm going to push back. Honestly, I'm already going to push back. I love the meme and I love the name, but technically it's not free because our time and our energy is not free.
Oh, right? Well said.
And so,
okay,
this is my pushback to proof of work people who claim that for some reason a human's work or time is somehow not valuable compared to a computer's work or time in mining Bitcoin. So in the past, like people were like, it's just like, hey, I'm spending my time and actually clicking buttons. You're saying that's not proof of work, and you're scoffing at it. Like, give me a break, man. You're lazy. You press a button on your computer and let it run for 10 hours or 10 years, and you think that's work. It's like, come on. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
But yeah, so when I saw, I originally got into Nano a while back, 2017, came across Banano, got some free Banano in like Discord or wherever it was that I came across it, and
nice.
Completely forgot about it. And then a Bitcoin guy, Joe, came on, who's the Rare Pepe guy. He's a fan of Banano. And we were talking on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I bought a bunch of Banano on TradeOgre." And I'm like, "Wait, Bitcoin Joe is telling me that he bought Banano on TradeOgre." So I had to get somebody on there to come on, because it just completely reminded me about Banano. I was like, okay, I need to figure all this stuff out and exactly what it's about. So I sent Oops a bunch of questions or topics that we could talk about, and so why don't we just dig into those? Do you have like one specifically you wanted to start off with?
I think it's fair to start off with issuance. So since that is kind of how she starts. So I guess I'll just cover that super quick. Banano was all pre-mined. So the way that essentially worked is all 3.4 billion were created from the very start. And then they were split evenly between two distribution fund accounts. So those fund accounts are public on the blockchain, and basically what they've been doing for the last 4 years now, I guess it's been.
Holy God.
Wow, I know, right? Has it been that long? Yeah, okay. They've been giving away Banano at a steady rate through a whole bunch of different things, basically. We try to our best to label most of the addresses with vanity names, so that overall it's quite easy for anyone to just kind of like go through the Explorer and see where it's going. Things like Folding at Home and stuff have a very specific address that you can see. In the time since we've minted the 3.4 billion, quite a few have been burned as well. I think our total supply now sits around 1.9 billion. So a significant amount.
And what was the reasoning behind the burn?
Well, there was a lot of reasoning. I guess probably the best answer, if I'm being honest, is that Banano's a community project, and there was a huge community push for a burn.
Just because people wanted to make more money from it.
Well, I don't really see it as that personally. Honestly, I think more so it was kind of like in an attempt to get coins out of the hands of the devs faster.
Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense.
Because like one of the biggest things that people have argued against kind of Banano is that the devs still hold a significant amount of the supply, which is true, but there's no way to distribute over a long-term period without holding that supply and then distributing it. So like you have to be centralized until you're not. But
do you have
people, they want things now.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, that makes sense. Because and also it's like people in the beginning, they especially with meme coins, they're like, when moon?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Discord is a lot of that. So win moon, win ban, win everything. So I think that the burn happened for a lot of reasons, but I think an important point from the burn that I think is worth noting is that the burn did actually make, like the huge burn that happened April 1st that pushed us to the 1.9 billion, that tipped the scales. So now the developer funds aren't like unilaterally centralized anymore. Like they don't hold 51% of the
Okay.
supply. So that was an important thing for the community. I don't even know if a lot of people really clued in that that was the case, but that is really what happened. I think most people probably focused on supply going down, price go
Yeah.
up, or something sad like that. But really, it was more so about things like network security, and everyone loves the 19 meme within Banano. So
What's
you
what's
know,
what's
running
the
with that.
19 meme?
So, well, 19 is the atomic number of
Okay.
potassium,
Oh, see, learn something
and
new every day.
you'll find that there's a lot of really subtle, nuance, hidden things within Banano. That there's been a lot more thought put in than people might realize. Like kalium, I believe, is the Latin word for
Okay.
potassium.
So like
That's
serious,
our
serious
wallet name.
nerd stuff like that, like Easter egg stuff. No, I mean
Yeah,
like that's fun. Easter eggs
exactly.
are fun. They're
Yeah,
super nerdy, but they're super. They're. I mean, it's a little treat for people who are dedicated to projects and ideas and like to dig around a little bit and find things like that. And that's really
exactly.
fun as a fan to come across stuff like that. I mean, my friends are the biggest Star Wars nerds on the planet, and he just put something into a group text about Star Wars, A New Hope, catching somebody walking in the background who wasn't supposed to be there. So a set guy wearing a yellow jumpsuit and said, "I've seen this movie at least 1,000 times at this point, and I never noticed yellow jumpsuit guy before because there was the big joke in Mandalorian about that one sound guy who they caught his arm and leg in there, and everyone riffed on it for Twitter about for a week or two. So it's like still." 30 years later,
Yeah,
he's excited to come across an Easter egg of that. So I think that's really cool when developers and people building out projects like that think of stuff like that for their followers and fans, and it's just little, the fact that you're taking the time to do that kind of stuff and think in those terms, I think helps audiences to appreciate the team more. So good on you for that.
cool. Thanks. I'm glad you think so. We kind of just, it gives us something to work off of,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
nice. It's kind of hard when you're sending a whole bunch of tips all the time to know, I mean, what number do you
yeah.
pick? To be honest, right? Like everyone's kind of picked their number within the chat. And 19's become a really good number. It's a good size tip. It's a fair thing to
And
send.
that's
People like
19 cents
receiving.
right now, right? Roughly.
Oh man, I guess so. What is this?
That's a
What are we?
because
I don't know. Today's been a
aren't you at
crazy
a
day. So we got listed on Coin. Was it today? Yeah, we got listed on
oh
Coinex today.
nice. Well, yeah, so it was yesterday. I
Huge.
think it was
Uh,
1 penny or something like that. That I checked it because I saw the price on
yeah.
my portfolio because I have 119 ban. Thank you very much. So now it's
Nice,
almost
nice,
three
nice.
cents. Congratulations.
Yeah, wow. Look at that. 51 sats, eh? So, yeah, I can't even believe it, to be honest. I mean, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm so busy trying to just like do events and talk to people and things like that. Really, I never even check. It's super exciting for everybody. You can tell, you can see in the chat when it blows up. Like, basically, when the chat starts flying at a mile a minute and you can't even read it, I kind of assume that things must
Yeah,
be happening.
exactly. And I'm gonna have to say that is sacrilege that you just said how much sats it's worth. Sacrilege.
But do people not do that?
I mean, I think like old OGs do still to this day, but I try to get people out of that mindset since projects are, especially projects like DAGs, are trying to focus on cleaner ways of creating a digital currency. Um, so I just slowly try to push people. Not push. I just it's a
I
joke.
understand, though. That makes sense.
Um,
I get you.
so I mean, because I at this point and I'm pretty open about this. I would say ETH is my main bag, and then I trade everything
Mhm.
against ETH. So kind of like people do with
Yeah,
Bitcoin. I
me
mean, because
too.
now that everything's on Uni or Matic or XDAI or this or that, and it's just like I just trade everything against ETH. I think I tweeted out a couple days ago that I sold 96% of my Bitcoin. I was like, I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore. It's not doing anything for the planet. It's not helping anybody. So let's just move on to meme coins and clean meme coins.
Yeah, I honestly, I do agree. Like, I see a use for it, I suppose, but honestly, I've always very much been an altcoin maximalist, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even consider
I
ETH an
guess. I
altcoin
mean,
anymore. I consider ETH
no,
like,
ETH isn't an altcoin. I mean, to be fair, ETH is going to eat
yeah,
Bitcoin, and like Bitcoin will just live on as a wrapped token on Ethereum or something anyway. Like,
sad WBTC.
oh man, that's what it's going to be though. Like, especially once we see ETH 2 and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Like once we launch ETH 2 and the Ethereum network is more valid, like it's more expensive to attack than the Bitcoin network, then Bitcoin's value
Oh, yeah.
proposition is kind of like
Completely.
shot. Might as well just use wrapped Bitcoin if it's more secure and your whole value prop is security.
I just read an article from a maximalist claiming that proof of stake is worse than proof of work because it doesn't allow transactions to go back and forth. It locks up all this funds, and that's bad for the environment.
I don't understand, but I just pretend to smile. I just smile, nod, carry on, and send stuff for free and instantly.
Exactly. I was just like, wait a minute. The whole meme is hodl now for Bitcoiners. So you're locking up funds that nobody uses, and now you're attacking proof of stake for that. Okay. So let's get back to Banano. Sorry, I go down tangents.
Oh, good. I like it. This is how it's supposed to be.
So question: why did you pick what was it? 3.3 billion. 3.4.
3.4.
How
Yeah.
come 3.4?
I'm if okay.
19 plus.
Yeah,
No,
I might say this and be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was just 10 times the supply of Nano.
okay.
I'm pretty sure it was 10 times the initial
The
supply.
initial
Of Nano.
supply. And so what did
Yeah.
now? You know probably more about this than I do. Nano is 133 million something 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 something, but so they created more and then only gave out to people who actually did the captchas and then just burned all the rest. Is that what happened?
I think. Well, there was a developer fund and stuff.
Yeah, that was 5%.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I showed up to Rayblox pretty much right after the faucets would have ended because I didn't get to participate
Yeah,
in the
either did I.
faucets. I'm not 100% sure what happened with distribution. I do know that like a huge part of the reason that Banano initially started was because of like both a desire to revisit the way distribution was done and just everyone was just super sad after the whole Big Grail thing.
Yeah. Oh man.
And we just needed some love. So like yeah, like everybody needed a good meme. And up from the ashes rises a weird yellow phoenix.
Which is so funny that like everything is about bananas and apes now. On
It's
on
perfect.
BSC. I'm on BSC. So there's like Ape Watch and there's banana and there's I forget.
Yeah,
Ape
ape
Swap.
swap, and there's a
Yeah.
banana token. There's a banana token, and I swear they pumped today because people thought they were us. Maybe
There's
I'm
two.
wrong.
There were two. There's because for a while they still weren't listed because I used to have some banana and they weren't listed. I kept on like looking up and it was a different banana. So I was like, how many bananas are out there? And it's just like,
If I go into CoinGecko right now and type banana, yeah, banana finance, ape swap finance, which is banana talk. I don't know what that is. There's also a Y-ban, which is a scam. Please don't ever go near
what's it
that
called?
one.
Ryban?
No,
Y-ban.
Y-ban. I'm just
Okay.
gonna like. I shouldn't have even
No, you
brought
should
any
absolutely
attention
bring
to
it
it. But
up
if
because
people
people
are
are going to
gonna,
look.
if people are gonna
Yeah.
search, yeah, that one's a scam. Please don't touch that. Someone just made it one day to try to steal the branding.
Gotcha. Okay. And then if you type in ape, there's a bunch of ape stuff as well.
I
So
love it, man. You'd think we were psychic or
know.
something.
Okay. So next question about
Actually, here, let me just give you one that'll be good since we were on the topic because we were talking about ape swap and we were talking about things like Binance Smart Chain. We're in the process of developing and releasing a wrapped Banano on Binance Smart Chain. It's already on testnet. I have some in my wallet, but things like liquidity providing and stuff are super weird and hard to test on
Yeah.
testnet. So it's still taking some time to roll things out. But yeah, like that's going to be a really exciting announcement for people because you'll be able to wrap up some Banano, maybe throw it in a liquidity pool on Pancake Swap. Um,
Okay. So
yeah,
I have gotten no end of shit from the Nano community for telling them to hurry the fuck up and wrap Nano so they can participate in Ethereum or some kind of EVM. No end of shit.
I kind of understand. Hey, it's worth being noted that like it is not a perfect system.
Well, yeah, but like if you want to be able to interact with pretty much the biggest
Mhm.
cryptocurrency in the world right now, because everything's happening on
It
Ethereum.
is.
So, I mean, you can hope it's going to go away, but all of DeFi is on some kind of EVM. And if you can't participate in that in some way and interact with it, then like you're just kind of sitting there on the sidelines saying, but I can P2P, you know?
I don't entirely disagree with you because it's a really fun game to play that I'm obviously participating
Yeah.
in. Um, I will just kind of be the devil's advocate towards it though and say that like it's not a perfect
Oh, no,
system.
not at
Like
all.
for us to be able to pull this off, like there will need to be a centralizing point at the
Yeah.
bridge, right?
Yeah.
There's no choice around it because we can't do smart contracts, and if we could, then we'd essentially just EVM ourselves,
Yeah.
right? Like or something along them lines. Like that, obviously not just
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
but yeah, like
No, General
or
Matters
we'd
on
maybe do something like roll ups or like
General Matters on Twitter kept on saying that over and over. He's like, dude, it's physically impossible to decentralize it. You have to have a central source. And I was like,
you
okay,
like there might be clever ways, but as it stands right now, yeah. So like essentially for wrapped Banano, like there will be a hot wallet which is tied to the program at the bridge, and then there will be a cold wallet which is held by the
yeah,
developers. And there is no way around that. At least for what we've found so far. And if someone wants to like, we're trying to push out people to come take a look because hey, if someone does find a better solution, we'll obviously take
yeah,
it. I know that Wrapped Nano has been like they've been looking at this for a while. It's certainly not that it hasn't been a discussion. I think it was just mostly about a concern. I mean, like let's just be real. God forbid yet another sort of big
oh my
growth.
god, yeah, yeah. That's you
Exactly
know,
right. Like I'd be scared if I was. I'd be totally scared.
yeah,
So yeah, there is a lot of stuff to think about with this. But with Banano, like our goal is distribution. With Nano, their goal would be to provide more use cases for the asset and things like that. But Banano's prime goal at this stage is distribution. And so by having a liquidity pool and offering extra rewards through a syrup pool or something like
yeah.
that, like that helps Banano distribute to a wider audience, which is our current goal. So we are coming at it from different angles.
Well, that's good. I mean, I look. So whenever somebody says it can't be done, I point to Nano and Banano, and I say, you know what? Everyone said DAGs can't work. Everyone said, the only way to provide complete decentralization and security is through proof of work. And so, Colin figured it out, and people are figuring out how to make stuff work. And I never say nothing can be done because if the human mind can think it, people say, well, it's physics. I said, you know, physics says I can't fly, right? But I can fly around the world in 24 hours. I don't know, however long it is now than the fastest plane, right? So it's like
Yeah,
there's always
yeah,
some kind of workaround that, yes, technically I can't fly, but I can get in a plane and fly. Am I flying
yeah.
or am I not flying? Technically I'm flying. So I try to remind people that like And it always kind of drives me crazy, like in the cryptocurrency space, where it's just like forever people said decentralized currency couldn't exist, and then all of a sudden it did. And then they said, "Oh, you can't have proof of stake," and then people started doing it. "Oh, you can't have DEX," and then people figured out a way to do it. It's just like I, I'm always like genuinely surprised when people are like die hard saying, "No, it can't happen. It's physically impossible." I'm just like, okay, I don't know.
That's actually the most dangerous thing to say, in my
Yeah,
opinion. You're almost guaranteed to be wrong if you say it's definitely not going to
yeah.
happen.
Like,
And like, in fact, if you tell someone they can't do it, they're much more inclined to
yes,
actually try.
yeah. So I wish I was more of a scientist, or not scientist, but like more of a developer, because I would love to try to solve that problem. But I just don't have the energy. I'd rather just talk about it to no end on
Yeah,
Twitter
I
and on
understand.
podcasts.
I tell myself all the time I'm going to learn Solidity, and that it's just one of these days.
I end up just staring at crypto Twitter and whatever website that's showing me how much money I'm making every second. Like, and I don't do
Yeah, all I care about is 40,000%
it.
APY.
Oh god. See, that BSC stuff ruined me. Because if it's not like 5,000, like minimum 5,000 APY, I'm just like next. So
Yeah, I
I had to
understand.
get myself to stop doing
I
it entirely, because I kept on losing money. Like to
I must be losing money. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just press buttons and it sounds fun.
all of a sudden I'm like why do I have less money? Oh, 5% deposit fee. Oops. I should have read that better. So now I'm just like, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. So what's the plan? Is there a cutoff in like an issuance end date, and then you'll burn all the rest? Or do you want to try to get that 1.9 billion, all of it out, even if it takes like 50 years?
Oh, it won't take 50 years. So there's never really been like an exact structure, even though people have always wanted it. But I think that they kind of, it's really hard to understand if you're not actually like seeing what happens after each event to understand why it can't be a fixed structure, because when there's money on the line, almost every single event gets
Yeah.
abused or botted or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely.
And so, how do you run something and build a schedule when almost everything you build has to be like revisited after every
Yeah.
use? Like, take Runner for example. I mean, if did you ever play Banana
No,
Runner in the early
I
early
missed it.
days? It
I
was
missed
okay. It
everything.
was essentially like,
I missed
no, you didn't. You didn't miss
the
everything.
pick the monkey game. I was too late for that.
Oh, that's seasonal.
Oh
That'll come
well,
back.
okay, perfect. Because I wanted to play last
Yeah,
week,
that'll
and I was
that'll
like,
come back.
oh no, I can't play it. Damn it.
Yeah, and that comes back on seasons where it runs for like a day or two. We tried to leave it up running permanently, but there were people who tried to. There was like actually, I'm pretty sure there was flat out a company that was like hiring people to work full time
Oh my
doing it.
god.
So
To make the
yeah,
half of one
this
penny
is why
back
we
then.
can't have nice things.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
so well, Runner, right? Like I'm pretty sure some dude. So Runner was essentially like a temple run
Yeah.
style game where you would put in your address, you'd run around, like you'd run through the game, you'd collect bananas as you were jumping over obstacles, and the bananas you'd eventually like earn them in Banano.
That's amazing.
It was a lot of fun. That was how I learned about Banano, actually. Well, not like totally, but that was probably the first way I earned like a decent sum. Was I played like hours of Banana Runner when it was out. But
So
yeah,
to
some
make
guy
like
bought it and ended up
12
stealing like
bucks
half.
now.
Oh, it's probably less, man. I probably made like $2. Looking back, I look like a genius right now,
Yeah,
but I sure
exactly.
wasn't back then. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure some dude bought it and took like half of the entire
Oh
prize pool.
god.
And so, right, and then we had to take it down because it's like, well, I mean, we can't really call ourselves a fair, free distribution if that's happening. So, and that's pretty much been the story for most things. Initially, from my understanding, the goal was to always have distribution done within 5 years. And technically, we're 4 years in. So
And you're
I do suspect it'll take a little longer because we didn't expect things like the runner to be,
yeah.
never come back
Yeah.
out. We still want it to. We're still trying to work on it, but it's really hard to automate something on one end and then have someone not automate it on the other.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out a way to make it ASIC resistant. But
Yeah,
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 sorry.
yeah. Basically,
Total nerd.
human,
Bitcoin
yeah,
joke.
humanly ASIC. Yeah, the people who are clicking these captchas, they might as well be GPUs. It's crazy how fast they
Yeah.
are.
I mean,
Um,
I want to make, I want to do like a clone of Banano, and just have a different idea for issuance and see. But as I said, it's just like, how do you? I mean, I guess I could just technically tell it to you guys and see if it would work. And and try to, but that could be like a project. Is you have a bunch of people kind of submit issuance ideas and just cycle through them and do them for like a
yeah,
month.
absolutely.
Um, that's that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's tough. Part of what?
part of being a community project is kind of like if anyone wants to put forward an idea and can actually justify why it's worth pursuing, and then a whole bunch of other people want to get on that idea and say, yeah, like, I mean, our hands are tied. That's what a community project is. We're going to
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean? Like hence why we did the burn. Like if everybody was asking for it, like this is what they
Yeah.
want. Um, Got to do it. That's because we don't do it for us. We do it for them at the end of the day. So, in terms of the distribution, I guess if we're saying it was going to take about 5 years, I assume it'll probably take another. We might want to throw another year on there, just given how everything's been slowed down. But I don't like if we're talking 50, like no, definitely not. We hope to be done reasonably soon. But then at the same time, with this burn, because we had to do this for the community, what we also have to do is revisit the way we were distributing. And so there is big changes happening on the back end to the way we manage and distribute things for like events and faucets and stuff like that. And we haven't really like pinned down on numbers. I'll be honest, just for myself personally, I don't speak on behalf of everyone on the team, but for myself personally, like I'm scared to pin down numbers just because like I mean things are changing every single
Yeah.
day. Like how it's super hard to say like something and then like if we say, hey, we're going to give away X amount of Banano a month, like some months that's a lot more than others. And how do you balance it out? And do we want to balance it out or do we not? Or like that, I guess that's kind of up to the community to decide. But
And what happened with the Nano airdrops for Nano people?
I know, right? So that's see that's a good example. That's been delayed because of network spam, mostly, I believe. I like it's Renee who's running it, and Renee's basically said that like based on network spam and a whole bunch of other things, it's just been really complicated to figure out. I know they are still working on it. I think they posted some numbers kind of like in one of our team chats today.
Okay.
So it is still like it's not like we're not going to do it.
Okay.
Actually, we're historically late. We're historically late on all of our airdrops.
I guess I
So
mean
I
with
don't
the
think we've
meme
ever put.
coin, what do you expect? Like it's just a bunch of people hanging out, having fun, memeing.
I mean, I won't say I agree with his message, but he did kind of announce it by saying like if you're upset about waiting for some free meme coins,
Yeah.
like shame
Yeah.
on you. And I don't necessarily 100% agree with that, but then at the same time, like come on, we're giving you something for free. We've had some issues. We're needing some more time. Like just you're gonna get it. Like I
My
mean,
thing is like
we are historically late for every single airdrop, so
I
it's
mean
like it
my
is
thing
what it
is
is.
like if you tell me you're going to do something, do it. If there's a problem,
Yeah,
tell me what the problem is so I'm aware of it and then I just move on with my life. But
yeah,
that whole thing of like hiding mistakes and stuff like that, it just to me it just like the whole purpose in my mind of cryptocurrency is about like openness. Like everything's
yeah.
visible. And when people start to try to hide stuff about cryptocurrency, it to me it's like the antithesis of cryptocurrency and it makes me worried about that person or that project. Um,
That's fair. I don't think that they really tried to hide. I
no,
don't.
no,
I
not at
just think that
all.
they
I
didn't
just,
really
I
communicate
mean,
very well. Also worth noting, I can't really post a follow up announcement, even though I should. Like I can on Banano per se, but I couldn't on like our cryptocurrency or things like that because they've banned me for 30 days for talking about them in the Banano subreddit, not even in our
oh my
cryptocurrency.
God.
They saw some comment about me saying that they'd remove my post if I shared it somewhere. And they said that was the equivalent of sharing it, so they banned me
Oh,
for 30
dude.
days. So I haven't been able to respond to people's comments asking, like, is this happening? So basically, everyone just thinks that I've
I,
ghosted them. I didn't really
I
mean to,
swear to
but that's pretty
God,
much what's happening.
our BTC and our cryptocurrency are just just Reddit in general. It's just such a nightmare.
It's a censorship nightmare. Those guys are. I like. I don't envy them per se. Like I know that they do. Like moderation's not a
Yeah,
fun job. I know that they're putting in work, and they're like you're going to get confused on the odd duck occasionally, but they are not doing what they're supposed
no,
to be doing, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that either. Like they're not doing a good job. You can't ban people for things they say on other subreddits that aren't even bannable
yeah,
offenses. Like,
it's just
whatever. It is what it is.
it's
It's too
annoying.
bad that I haven't been able to respond to these people. They'll probably ban me for life after reading this.
I wouldn't be surprised
Um,
knowing those guys.
no, me neither, actually. So I'll go sell my moons, I guess.
All right.
Um,
So,
yeah, I
oh,
get.
go ahead. Sorry.
Um, in terms of like whether we should actually, you know what? Just I'm just gonna. I'll stop there. I think we covered the topic pretty good. So let's just
Yeah,
carry on.
that's. I mean, I feel like that's a good good break. I think anybody listening to this point has a pretty good understanding of how the issuance works. So,
Yeah.
are you? So, I guess last question about issuance is, um, could you just end up at one point being like, we're done. Just going to burn everything else,
Like,
or are you pretty
I'm
tied
gonna say
down
no.
to the number you're at now?
Well, I think we've burned down to where we're at now. Like, I think everyone's really happy with the 1.919
Gotcha. Yeah.
1969 billion or whatever. Like, we chose a very specific. Yeah, we chose like a 191969420 or something like
Oh
that. Like, I don't think
God.
we could possibly burn down from that number, even if we wanted to. We're stuck to it. So there will be more coins maybe casually burned. That is kind of a point that that it is worth thinking about because technically we've had a buyback and burn program going. I don't even know if we still do because it was always kind of just like operating in the background. But little things like when you post to Publishox, you make a small reward, and so those funds generally just went to go market by Banano, and then we just burn
Okay.
it.
Nice.
Um, it used to be just like a nice way of trying to offset the
Yeah.
distribution. Um, I don't know if I should probably ask about that and find out like what's going on with that and whether that's still really happening. I'm sure it is, but it's always been kind of like I don't know how much you can earn off Publishox to be fair, but I don't think it's like something that's like scream home and write news articles about
Yeah.
it.
It was funny when I first came
Um,
across it. They jumped onto the Nano Discord and they're like, Simmons like, I want some, and they gave him like 119. I was like, holy shit! This is like back when like Nano was like $9 coming down. And I was like,
yeah,
I'll take some. And they're like, here you go, 119. I was like, oh my god, I'm rich. And like, oh, that's like less than half of a penny. Okay,
yeah. However long ago
yeah,
that
this is like
was, yeah, that would have been
2018.
nothing. That would have been if yeah, 100. I think. I mean, in my mind, I'll be honest, 1,000 Banano was $1. It was for years, and like it didn't matter what the market did. Bitcoin would go for a run, we would
Yeah,
stay. Bitcoin would go down, we would stay. We were like the ultimate stable coin. So anytime anyone tries to talk to me about price of Banano, in my head it's still 1,000 to $1, and I can't get out of anything
what you
otherwise.
want, I
I'm
guess,
pretty sure
as
that
a if you're gonna have a peer-to-peer currency, you want it to be relatively stable.
yeah, it was actually like I mean, I really think actually people underestimate how much Banano is used because it's a P2P
Yeah,
currency. Like people don't use it on exchanges. Why would you send it to an exchange, pay a fee, pay a withdrawal fee when you could just meet someone in the chat and do a quick swap with them?
exactly.
So like we don't get enough volume. We don't have a lot of registered volume that we could otherwise have because everyone's doing these swaps. We also have a really large like fiat to Banano market
Really,
specifically within like I guess a great example is within Venezuela because of there is a large market for the bolivar to Banano, and there was a lot of peer-to-peer trading and escrowing happening. And
really.
yeah, I know people who their full-time job is to collect Banano, sell it for bolivars, use it to buy food and medicine. I know tons of people that do
Wow.
that.
And I guess with
Like,
a relatively stable price, that becomes an actual store of value because you don't have to worry about
oh,
wild
yeah,
swings.
for sure. Yeah, there was like of the thousands of people that are in the Banano Discord, I would say that like I think there's 22,000 people in the Banano Discord. So it doesn't seem like it would be a stretch at all to say that a couple thousand are like using the income as a as an income, not as like it's fun, I'm getting this. Like they're collecting it, they're selling it, they're using it to buy
That's
food.
crazy.
Like
And that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
it's really cool. It's really cool. It's like it's currency. It's actually a
Yeah.
current like Banano is a currency. Here's another fun example because it's just kind of wholesome. And my one of my best friends, and there's a couple of others as well, but I'm gonna stick to Mr. G for right now. So Mr. G is one of my
Okay.
best friends, and he is an elementary school teacher. And I have Mr.
Elementary
G.
school teacher where?
You
In the
in
US or
Canada.
Canada or okay.
In Canada. Yeah. So he's an elementary school teacher in Canada. And Mr. G uses Banano in his classroom with all of his
No way.
students. And so he manages the wallets himself because we're still waiting for a solution that can blacklist so that kids can't send out of the class if they were to learn how to make their own wallet
Gotcha.
and get it
Okay.
out. But right now, he manages through his Callium, say like 30 accounts, one for himself and then one for each kid. They have their monkeys and their QR codes printed out and
Oh my
laminated.
god.
They can see their accounts through Creeper if they wish. They earn points for behaving well, performing tasks, getting in line, cleaning up. The janitor, or sorry, custodians. That's the custodians. They even give this classroom a score at the like end of every day, and then the next day the kids
Oh
get
wow.
points based on the score of the right. And then once the kids reach a certain threshold of points saved or Banano saved between them all, then a store opens and the kids are able to redeem their Banano for things like free time on the laptops, playing with Lego, or
Oh my
whatever,
god.
kind of stuff that they would like to do. And so the kids love it, and we've been doing it for about 2 years. Um, I don't think he'd be upset with me saying this, but he's my best friend. I used to hear him get really turned out of shape, and he was like having panic attacks,
Turned out of shape
and
for what?
like his class was not a good
Oh, okay.
class. He would like have panic attacks getting out of his car on his way to school in the morning. Like he would come home and tell me stories over the phone, and you could just tell
Oh
he was just
god.
destroyed. And he is not like that at all. He still has the same class, I should note. It's been 2 years. He has the same class. Once we released this, it was like literally night and day. And I'm just saying, for me watching him, like I immediately noticed a difference. So I can't imagine what it was like
Yeah.
on his end. This has been an amazing solution. Banano in the classroom. Sorry, I just went on a rant about Banano in the
No.
classroom, but Banano in
It's
the
great.
classroom is an amazing solution and use case for Nano and Banano technology. Instant feeless sending. Kids can do it. They have monkeys that they can understand. They can redeem it for rewards. It makes so much sense. Kids are learning financial literacy and numbers and decimals at a rate that there's no way they would be
Yeah.
doing. I'm pretty sure his class is grade 4 or 5. So they're, what's that, 11 or 12 years old or something along those
Like
lines?
9 or 10. 9 or 10. 10 and 11.
Yeah,
10 and
okay.
11.
So, yeah. So that, like, you don't save money. Kids are asking if they can like sell pencils to kids for Banano, and like there's so much actual currency action happening in this micro economy in this
Yeah.
classroom. It's very cool to see.
Well, I read some study that said somebody was doing a test case with students of rewarding them as opposed to with grades, rewarding them with money. If they do well, they earn money instead. Because the logic was you get rewarded with financial incentives at work. Why aren't we teaching them that? Why aren't we preparing them for the real world? And they were getting pretty good results out of it because students were starting to tie in performance with money. So I don't know. I mean, I think from like the utopian mindset, you're like, do we really want to teach kids all this kind of stuff? But then from a real world perspective, it's like, well, why wouldn't you want to teach them? Like the biggest problem in America right now is financial literacy. in my mind.
Mhm.
Nobody really understands how to
Mhm.
save properly, how to invest properly, and granted, it's because no one's really making enough money. The majority of people aren't making enough money to be able to do those kind of things. Before COVID, the majority of Americans didn't have $400 in their pocket in case of an emergency. So how do you really teach that person financial literacy when they don't have any finances to do anything with?
Mhm.
So, but I think that's amazing because teaching kids at a young age, this is how money works. That's huge. So good on Mr. G for that.
It's a really fun experiment. I'd love to get more teachers on board. So if someone is listening and they know a teacher who would like to try it, reach
Well,
out.
my uncle's a teacher,
I'll happily
so
set it
I'll
up.
talk to him. He's a special ed teacher, so maybe that might be a good thing for special ed
Oh,
students.
that would be very fun. I would love something like that. That would be a great
So if
experiment.
you can when we're done, we'll have maybe you can put me in touch with Mr. G and I can pass along his information to my uncle.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That'd be
can do
cool.
that.
Yeah, so that's amazing. That's cool. So it's always good to hear stories like that of real world usage because you can't.
Right. Brings a real smile to your
Yeah,
face.
and I get frustrated with frustrated with Bitcoiners because they're like, Bitcoin's helping poor people in Venezuela. They're using it every single day, and my response is, no, they're not. Poor people are not using a cryptocurrency that costs $100 for a transaction fee right now.
What is current transaction fee? At the last I checked, it was like 45 US dollars. Like, no, they're not.
I'm like, no one is using Bitcoin. Sorry.
I have a really hard time with this battle because I'm also like super guilty of always hating on Bitcoin and like I like the monetary policy, but like I'm looking at Blockchair right now, 2.49 transactions per second.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
What's the average Banano transactions per second right now, roughly?
That's a good question, actually. Let's go to Creeper and see.
What is that? Creeper.com?
Creeper.banano.cc.
Okay.
Where am I seeing that? Average confirmation time right now is 0.4 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Reasonably fast. I feel like a noob. I should know where to check this, but I haven't looked in so long. Oh, good. We'll just stick with the average confirmation time of 0.43 seconds
that's
versus
pretty solid.
Blockchair. Yeah, saying what are we at? Oh, average transaction fee from Bitcoin is 35 US dollars.
That's crazy
right now. That's outrageous. That is just too high. Like, and transactions per second 2.13. Okay. Average time between blocks 12 minutes. So I guess that's the comparison is 12 minutes and 18 seconds versus 0.4 seconds.
I mean, I was kind of going back and forth with Andreas at one point on Twitter or on YouTube in his comment section, and he said, "Hey, I can pay my employees for next to nothing in Bitcoin." I said, "Yeah, if your employees can wait for 2 weeks."
Well, I guess they could use Lightning, but then like, are you making compromises? I'm not sure. I'm not going to pretend I fully understand Lightning or any of the other side chains on Bitcoin.
Well, Lightning right now doesn't 100% of the time work. From my knowledge, from what I've read, I haven't seen anything to date that's changed Lightning Network development team, Lightning Labs, or I forget what it's called. Them saying, the last I heard is they still say it's still in beta and don't use any funds you don't mind losing. Because there's still about like 80% success rate, which, I don't have a problem with that because they're being honest. What I have a problem with is Maxi saying use Lightning, it works. No,
it's your solution.
80% of the time does not mean it works. So
yeah, I'd like to have more than a 4 in 5 chance of
especially if I'm using serious money, like actual money that I need to live on.
If you need to pay an employee, it needs to show up. It needs to not like 4 out of 5
But
show
the
up.
logic was
You're probably
oh,
paying.
we don't need Lightning Network. We can send it for, we can pick our fees. I was like, okay, so you can get it for next to free if you send it on a 2-week time schedule. You can get it down to like 3 cents or 10 cents or something like that. Okay, great. But like, what if your employee needs it right then?
I mean, you can't pay an employee 2 weeks later. You pay them on
Yeah.
payday.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, I get paid 2 weeks later at my job. Like, the
Oh
pay period is
man.
always 2 weeks behind
Oh,
at
true,
most
true.
jobs.
Okay, yeah,
But I feel like that wasn't always the case. It used to be like on payday, you walked out with a check in your hand. They handed you a check on the last day of the pay period, ready to go. I mean, like back in the 50s and 60s, and now everything's delayed and blah blah. And it's just like I don't. Yeah, like, let's get back to pay me when I'm done. I don't want to like have to worry about.
I was talking with my grandma today, and she said that her first job in the 50s paid her $18 a week.
I was still talking, and I thought you said I was fucking with my grandma today. And I was like, wow,
Oh my
why are
god,
you fucking with your
no.
grandma? What did she do to you?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
no,
missed
it's
you there.
totally fine. I was like, okay, where's he going with this? And then you finished it. I was like, oh, okay, that was wholesome.
I had a conversation with my grandma today, and she was telling me that her first job was in the 50s, and she was making $18 a
That's
week.
great. I mean, like my grandma, I'm older than you, so my grandma was working during World War II. And so that's what, and yeah, that's great. I mean, I love that women were pushing back against the system and working and telling the man to.
Inflation is a wild thing, eh?
I mean, I try not to worry so much about inflation because it's been relatively under control for the most part. People are like, well, blah, blah, everything's so expensive. And I was like, yeah, but back then also people had a refrigerator, a stove, a car, and that was about, and maybe a radio, and usually a radio. But then now it's like you got to have a TV, you got to have an Apple TV to attach to it, or a Chromecast or something like that. You got to have a computer, you got to have an iPad, you got to have a phone, you got to have speakers for your computer. You got to have a router, you got to have you got to have backup hard drives for all your stuff. You got to have, I mean, there's just so much stuff that we have now compared to back then. So I try to like put things,
Yeah, well said.
think about things like that. Where it's like, okay, well, my grandparents had more money, but they also had a lot less stuff. And they seem just as happy. And yeah, that's depressing now.
I don't know, man. I thought that was really nice. That was a really good point. Like, because you're right. There was just a lot less stuff. Like, we're almost at stuff overload at
Yeah.
this point. I'm looking at my desk right now, and it's almost making me feel a
I
little bit
know.
guilty.
That's. I was literally just going from left to right on my desk. I have my TV to the left of my desk, and I just started to the left and just worked my way to the right. And that all the stuff I listed is all the
Yeah,
stuff I have.
I know. I basically did the same thing, and I'm looking here like, you fool. Why do you have so much
Capitalist
stuff?
scum.
I tell myself I like minimalism.
Yeah, I try. But like, I have, doing a podcast, I got to have a bunch of stuff. And it's just like being in crypto, I feel like I got to have extra stuff for that, for security. And this, it's just like, it's just never ending. And yeah. So what about let's go to hard cap or inflationary. So it's hard cap.
Yeah.
What?
Borderline
deflationary. Well, I tell people anything that's fixed supply is technically deflationary, because if you have an increasing population, you're going to have less per person. So technically that's kind of deflationary. And then also anytime you lose something, if you don't replace it with another one that's lost, that's deflationary.
Also true. And then there is maybe that buyback and burn thing. Because at a point we were actually attempting to be deflationary. We were purposely burning Banano to make it deflationary. But now that we've hard capped at the 1.9 billion, I'm not really sure what'll happen with any more burns, because it's such a nice number. Why would we ruin it?
Do you plan on having a large development or the develop? Are you going to get rid of everything eventually, or
Well, okay, so that's kind of a tricky battle because I guess yes, the goal was to always give everything away. Um, but then it is also kind of sad to think about the idea that like one day there just might not be funding for people who would like to build stuff for
yeah,
Banano. And so I think the community may choose to, vote for some kind of community fund.
like 5 or 10%
Um,
or something like that, like Nano did?
yeah, of what's left, or like as we work through this distribution schedule, something like that might get more clearly answered. Um, but that's going to be a tricky one because until we know how like the rate at which we can distribute, it's hard to kind of say how much we're going to distribute. Um, yeah, funding becomes a tricky battle for development. I would like to think that the Banano ecosystem has such a massive like daily use between just all the people who are so active within the community that there's kind of an incentive for people to build on it without needing any kind of funding from the team at this stage, kind of like how Nano is doing so well with that. There's so much like so many Nano
Yeah.
projects happening, and it's not like the dev team is funding every single one of them. People are just going and they're doing it because they see a way where they're either incentivized personally or that is just something that the community needs and they're going
And
to do it.
I
So I think we'll kind of get the
I'm always
same.
telling people, like, I suggest something to like the dev team doesn't have time for that. I said, it's not the dev's team job, it's yours. If you like Nano, you have to start thinking outside the box about outside of what the dev's responsibility is, and you have to build on it. You can't expect them to do everything for
Mhm.
you or expect somebody else to do it. Like, if you are passionate about it, you got to figure out a way to support or build on the community, or just keep buying it and
Mhm.
support it that way. But like, it's a tough thing over like there's especially with Nano. So let's just take Nano for example. They gave themselves 5% at the start, and then BitGrail happened. And so they're dealing with all that, having to use some of the funds for to pay legal costs and that, and then the spam attack happens, and it's just like there's only so much one small dev group can do on their own. So you need
Mhm.
not only, I mean, you need more than just like cheerleaders. You got to find people who are actually willing to like start building on top of it. And so it's nice that you guys have people who are starting to do that. It's nice that Nano has people who do that. But like it's a tough thing because it's like I feel like especially in cryptocurrency, it's the idea of like the whole purpose is supposed to be decentralized eventually with all of cryptocurrency. Like that's the mindset behind it. And so if you're constantly relying on a dev team to do all the work for you, how decentralized really is that?
100%.
So it's good. I'm glad that you guys
There's
are I'm glad that you guys are instilling some kind of excitement in the community that they're being proactive and doing stuff on their own. That's great.
Yeah, and there should be bounties, and stuff like that to maybe like encourage
Yeah.
people. But I mean, I like one great example that I like to push out is the Banano Nano trade, like Kayumsu. So it's a website made by Yusuf. Yusuf did it. It's a relatively simple website. It allows you to trade Nano to Banano or back, or you can also trade Reddit Moon pairs. So there's moons to Banano and moons to Nano. There's those kind of like three working intertwined, Nano, Banano, moons. Um, he made it himself for the, was it Nano build off back in the
Okay.
day?
What? Hold on, really
He
fast.
made it
Kyunsu. See, I don't.
Kuyumsu. Yeah, yeah. Kuyumsu is the name, but the links are just like banano.nano.trade or moon.nano.trade or
Okay.
things like that. But yeah, he did a pretty good job on it. It's a self-sustaining product that he does make a profit off the spread. It's like it's built for Banano, but it's built by him, and it's like he didn't need any kickback from anyone to make it worthwhile for himself because it has a built-in incentive structure. So like He did build it for a Nano build off because, he wanted to get some rewards for it. So
Sure,
why
yeah,
not? But exactly, why not? Why
yeah,
wouldn't you? But he would have built it anyway, in my opinion. And he's continued to do development since, and that makes sense. And there's a lot of other, there's a BN swap that's popping up, kind of doing a similar structure, and that makes sense. We're seeing a lot of, with the NFT craze, we're seeing a lot of interesting steps being taken within the Banano community for things like that. Because as a meme coin, like, I mean, hey, we are making content all the time. Why not have NFT
yeah.
versions of it, right? So there's a lot of stuff happening on that end. Um, there's just so much happening all over the place. It's getting to be
I think
overwhelming.
my biggest not my biggest, a big frustration I have with Bitcoin is the idea of them not having a developer fund, and this kind of mindset that it's everyone's job to work for free.
Mhm.
And it's just,
Yeah, open source is kind of weird
yeah, and
like
it's like
that.
this kind of weird dystopian libertarian thing where it's just like, I shouldn't have to pay for stuff and you should have to work for free. And I'm like,
Mhm.
how is that person going to eat? Like, do people not think about that ahead of time when they say that out loud? It's just like, and I guess that rubs me the wrong way because as an artist, I've continually been asked to work for free since I was 19. Once I left school, or once I was started to work
Mhm.
professionally, people are like, "Well, can you just work for free?" And it's like, no, I I have a fixed rate that I make, like a
No.
minimum, and if you can't pay that, then you need to hire a bad actor, or you need to hire a bad photographer, or you need to hire a bad writer, and then realize that you get what you pay for. And
Mhm.
so so yeah, I mean, I think it's smart having rewards, having bounties, having all those things, and then having the community vote um, on what's important to them, or what they see as beneficial. But I like the idea of like having proposals. So, because
Mhm.
talking to Luke from Decred, the community does that. They have a dev supply, and the community picks proposals and then funds those proposals. So, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I think it's kind of like, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like that whole thing with Mr. G and his students. People need to learn that this is how economics and finance works. You can't just expect stuff to get made magically for free all the time. You got to actually contribute and pay for it and participate. And um,
Yes,
let's just keep going back to Mr. G.
absolutely. Mr. G is a hero. So I do agree with you. One thing it's been very interesting to see that places like Coinbase and stuff, like, because they are such successful businesses built on top of Bitcoin, they're willing to do bounties
Yeah.
themselves, and so that's kind of intriguing.
Well, I mean, God, they take so much in
I do see
fees. I
that
hope
that could be a
so.
thing, right? Exactly, but there is no reason that there couldn't be a competitor exchange pop up for Nano and then maybe they take 1% of their gross profit and dedicate it towards a Nano
Yeah.
bounty that pays for projects that are specifically made to be, because there's also an interesting point where not all projects are profitable. Like, you can't make money off
Yeah.
everything. You can't milk a profit out of every single piece of code and every single product. Like, that's just not, it's not healthy. You can for some, and for some you should, but then there also needs to be that altruistic step for this whole thing
Yeah.
to work. So maybe there needs to be bounties that target very specific kinds of development, things that, people are very aware could not be monetized otherwise, and then maybe the things that can be monetized should be
Well,
left to
like
do so.
infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't pay you
Exactly.
back directly; it pays you back indirectly, and
Hmm.
allows commerce to run on top of it. But if you don't build that infrastructure, you can't profit off of any of that, you know, money moving back and forth.
Exactly. Exactly. Things like block explorers and wallets and stuff like that, like, those need to be bounties.
Yeah,
You need to get someone who's going to spend the time to make that really, really well, especially the wallets, really well. And generally speaking, wallets are supposed to be free. So that person can't
yeah,
monetize that. They need to spend a lot of time making a really good product that they're probably going to have to pay for an audit,
yeah.
etc. And they can't monetize it in any way. So yeah, 100% there needs to be solutions for that. And I don't see us not doing that. Like Banana will always try to reward people, even if it's just out of. I've one thing I'm very proud of with our community is that the community takes on the rewarding themselves. It's not that we wouldn't do it, and we
Yeah.
happily do, but if you post a meme, the community tips you. If you post a product that you like, the community tips you. I've been DM'd by a couple people over the last few weeks. One person developed an Android app, another person worked on one of the guys is working on the Binance Smart Chain wrap, and like people are donating to their donate addresses, and they're just saying like, "Wow, I've been making stuff, and no one's really ever used the donate button I added before." So that's a nice feeling to know that like there are people who are just saying, yeah, take my money. I like what you're
See,
doing.
I gotta say, since this podcast started, 99% of donations have been from Nano people. 99%.
That's really
Yeah.
impressive.
And
That speaks volumes to the community. Actually, that really warms my heart to hear that, to be honest.
I mean, and it's funny just because like I wasn't always anti-Bitcoin. We would bring on people, we bring on Joe, who's a rare Pepe guy on Bitcoin, and we discuss it. We have Mike and Space, who's a Bitcoiner. We have people on who are pro Bitcoin, but it's just like they just don't. I don't know. I just, they don't ever seem the community doesn't ever seem positive about anything. It's constantly like in defense mode, and they just don't seem happy anymore. And that's why I really gravitate towards Nano. And wow, I'm probably going to gravitate towards Banano now. It's just like, it's just, people need some happiness in their life and positivity. And I want to, and I feel like people who are tipping, and it sounds like this is happening in your community, like people understand value and want to pay for value and want to support people who are contributing. And I think it just goes to the whole ethos of Colin's idea of not rewarding for not having block rewards. And if you want to contribute, like your contribution is creating a safer network, and you should want to do that for long. So it's kind of like building the streets to allow commerce to run on it. Like
you should be incentivized to secure your own network. That makes sense to me. Like, right? You don't need to be paid to secure your own money.
It's just like, it's like somebody having to like, hey, no, you should pay me to lock my door at night. It's like, no, I lock my door for long-term security to protect the value of my stuff. Like I shouldn't need to be paid to lock my own door. But apparently in Western capitalist society, that's kind of gotten to the point where like you gotta, so that was always kind of my concern about paying students is, do we really want to say it doesn't have value if you don't get paid for it? That was my only pushback against what Mr. G's doing, and not Mr. G, but like when I read that article, that was my only concern: is do we really want to make everything about money at all times? And if you don't get money for it,
for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree with that, and you're right, because like positive reinforcement can be dangerous if you do it too often, because then it becomes an expectation, and then that's not good. You don't want kids Pavlov drooling every time they try to clean up the classroom.
And like having their hand out. Where's my money? Where's my stars?
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah. Dwight?
Because that's the thing. It's like, what happens when they move out of their parents' house? If they're not getting that financial incentive to clean their house, are they just never going to clean their house? It's like...
Yeah, who knows, right? That's actually...
Yeah, so it's like the idea of like creating good habits for the sake of having the good habit. And how do you... So... But I like the idea that his students are having, a visceral change that's perceptible, not only to him, but to you who interacts with him. So
I don't even know his kids, and I know that there's been a night and day difference. It's wild.
That's good though. So that's good.
On another point, actually, you made me curious. I just went because you said, people actually send tips with Nano, people actually send tips
Yeah.
with Banano. I was curious. So I went and checked out how many, I went and checked out my wallet in the Creeper. And apparently I've done 39,002 transactions on my Banano
Oh
tip
man.
bot.
Sending and receiving or sending?
Uh, it would be both sending and receiving. So it's impossible for me to say how much like how much was in,
Yeah.
how much was out. But 39,000 total
That's
transactions
wild.
on just the account attached to my Discord. So that's not like that's like me doing tips on Discord only or receiving them. Um, yeah, that's a lot of transactions. Like good luck doing that with anything that
I
has
know.
fees.
I
I dare
know.
you.
It's like, I mean, my thing about Nano and Banano, I'm just gonna start including Banano now when I say Nano, is it's good for commerce. It's easy to send funds back and forth. So it encourages people to actually use it. And I mean, I I think so. Have you? I'm sure you've heard the phrase "prime the pump," right? It's
Mhm.
like people are worried right now all around the world because they're not getting any money. They're not getting any income from tourism. And my logic is, well, if you're having people come to your city, you're probably having people leave your city to travel as well. And it's probably just going to be a wash. You're not getting any more money or losing
Yeah.
any money. It's the same money, but for whatever reason, people don't feel they should spend that money in their community instead. So it just kind of halts the flow of commerce for whatever
Mhm.
reason. And so it's kind of that whole thing of like you do kind of got to prime the pump. It's for whatever I don't. I think it's that's the thing about humans. You can never really rely on economic theories because humans are irrational. We're an irrational lot, and there's no rhyme or reason why I shouldn't spend that $500 in my community when I know I'm not going to be able to travel for another year. Like, why wouldn't I spend that money in my community? But like, there you go. People
I
just do
I
it.
agree.
So
Yeah.
so I love the idea that it's really encouraging tips and micro tips. And a couple of the Nano people were joking around. They're like, "Damn it, I got to start tipping in USD terms as opposed to Nano terms now that one Nano is $8." So
Yeah, yeah, I've made that mistake. I keep sending huge banana tips and forgetting, and then I think to myself, like, oh shit, what did I just do? That was way too.
but live
Yeah,
and
it's
learn.
awesome. I love it. I love when you see someone just go wow after a tip, and you didn't even, you're
Yeah.
like, oops, what did I
Yeah.
do?
I mean, somebody sent
And
me
then you see things
recently.
like folding at home's given out a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean, somebody sent me 2 Nano and I was like, "Holy crap." Like they just sent me
Decent.
$16. That's a lot for a
That's
tip. That's crazy.
decent.
So, um it's nice. Uh
Yeah. Anyone that bought Nano under $1, it's like you are a
yeah.
god right now.
I can't I never include Nano in my portfolio just because I don't that's not something I trade. It's something like I support the community, so that part of my portfolio is just like there. I don't think about it, and I'm always like, man, I want to. How come I don't like? I don't have enough 10x's in my portfolio, and I'm like, oh, Nano, yeah, okay. I keep forgetting about that because I
Yeah.
bought under $1, and so it's like that's nice. That's always
Nice.
it's a good feeling.
Nice. Good for you. That's awesome. You're a
So now I'm gonna
legend.
go buy some Banano, and hopefully that'll make it to the top 10 or to top 100. So that's the next goal.
I that would be really fun. Kind of stay out. I'm happy to develop. I'm happy to make events. I'm happy to give away free
Yeah.
stuff. I have so much fun. I would be doing this if I would be doing this if Banana was worth zero. I mean, I don't know how many people would attend my events. They probably don't want to just hear my voice, but we have a lot of fun.
Oh, so what kind of events do you guys do?
Um, it's all over the place now, it seems, because basically we're just trying to anything that we can do to give away Banano in a way that people can't
Yeah.
cheat at it, we'll do. So karaoke events, design contests are big ones. One thing that we just did was when the Oscars and the when the Oscars and the Grammys ran, we had people fill out ballots and try to guess who they thought
Oh,
were going to
nice.
win, and then we did splits between the people who got them right. Um, One of our biggest events we call Bango. And so Bango is like an emoji bingo event where we take ridiculous banana themed emojis, we put them on cards, and then you can register through a bot. You'll eventually get your cards, and then we sit in a voice chat and call out the emojis while people cross them off.
That's great.
And if you get bingo, you get like, I mean, the last one, the prizes were actually like too big because we announced it and then everything just pumped after. So, like, people were making like a fat stack for just calling bingo on their emoji cards. It was a lot of fun. We had like 450 people register, which is like that's good for a Discord event. I would like us to see bigger numbers, but that's
That's,
really
I
good.
mean,
So
I think it's just fun. I mean,
it's so much fun.
I feel like so, and I always try to bring it back to OG Big Daddy Bitcoin, but like it seems like it used to be fun back then, like because Bitcoin was an underdog, and
Everyone loves the
yeah,
underdog.
and
Yeah,
and I just worry that like at what point does it become serious, and people, and it's just like, oh, this is real money now, we got to take it seriously. And that's why I kind of love the idea of like Nano and Banano because you kind of, I mean, so let's get into the relationship between your two
yeah,
communities. So talk to me. So
for
what's
sure.
so from a dev perspective, what's like how does that relationship work?
So there's definitely a few different perspectives, right? Because we're going to talk dev, team, community, etc. So for the devs and for Banano and Nano at the core and the code, they've been made to stay very similar on purpose. That wasn't just because people were lazy and wanted to just copy and paste it. Certainly no. It was basically because that means that anything that one side makes, the other could take
Gotcha.
advantage of. And because of that, there has been some amazing developments happen for Nano that have been brought over from Banano because we have this funding to give away in a way that the Nano Foundation and may not necessarily do because they're a much bigger and more official institution and they manage grants in a different
Yeah.
way and we just throw Banano at shit that sounds fun. So and then it works and then we sit there saying wow that worked and then that person can take the exact same code and just port it over to Nano or vice versa. So interesting examples are things like
Just
Natrium.
yep.
The Natrium
Just gonna
Nano
bring that
wallet
up.
was, yeah, that Callium came first. um, Callium was made first for Banano, tested, tried, found to be amazing, then they made Natrium. um, Keranos has been working on a camo kind of like privacy mixer
Okay.
layer. um, it's seen some complications, but he's doing a good job with it. I think there's been so many good discussions within the Nano Discord about it that I think he's a little bit confused at this point. And I think if anyone's listening to this that could help, I mean, man, reach out to the guy. He's been working on it for so long. He's doing a great job. Camo Banano and Camo Nano are kind of like being developed in tandem because you can
Okay.
do that. So yeah, that's just another good example. I'd love to see something like folding at home get rolled out for Nano, but I don't think they would do something like that because they're not really focused on
And
distribution.
tell everybody what folding at home is.
So folding at home with Banana, like specifically speaking towards Banano, is a way for you to, in quotation marks, mine cryptocurrency. And so folding at home essentially is a way for you to donate your unused computer power to science. Folding at Home is an institution that has no affiliation with cryptocurrencies themselves. And basically, you're donating your computer power so they can fold proteins and other sorts of things and use it for research. What Banano does is essentially looks at your points per day, which is just kind of like a generic points per day leaderboard that Folding at Home maintains. And they give you Banano as a thank you for contributing. So it's not directly mining. You're not directly like doing proof of work or anything like that, but your computer is doing work units and then earning Banano for doing them just in a slightly more wholesome manner.
I mean, I've been I wanted like a version of Bitcoin that did that. And I'm glad somebody finally did it because I kept on hearing like, well, it's impossible and blah blah, you can't do it. And it's just like, you guys solved it. I mean, not you. Folding at Home solved it, and you figured out a way to essentially do it with Banano, and that's amazing.
It's a cool idea, but it's for distribution. It doesn't secure the
Yeah,
network.
yeah,
So that is, yeah, that's worth noting. It's a fun way to distribute to it's the otherwise kind of like neglected mining community, because with Nano and Banano, there's no mining, so those people who are otherwise very pro mining, that kind of stuff, they don't really tend to look this way. So we we hoped to
yeah.
help them.
Well, I mean, that's like, I mean, somebody like Not So Fast, who's a big altcoin guy. That, you know, he loves mining alts. That could be a way for somebody like him to get on the Banano train. I don't even know if he does Banano. Um, but yeah, that's, I mean, that's exciting. Okay, so keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt about the folding at home.
No, good. I think we've pretty much for the most part covered it. So you essentially, when you're the website for folding at home would be bananominer.com. And essentially what you do is when you're downloading and preparing the software, it asks you if you want to be on a team. And so you choose Banano as your team. And by choosing Banano, that's kind of our way of knowing that you're working towards this. And then we pay you the Banano
Nice.
for the points per day that you accumulate. It's impossible for me to predict like how much a person would earn, because that's always the first
Yeah.
question I get is like, well, what's the return? Does it compare to mining? And like, I mean, I have no idea. That I have no idea. That depends on your computer
Yeah.
and a
It's
whole
like,
bunch
can
of
you
other
mine
factors.
Bitcoin on your
But
computer? Then no, it's not comparable because you're actually earning stuff this way.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, there's you could go mine some other random coin that I don't know about and maybe earn more. I don't know. It's not really about the money. It's that at least you're not just you're not just like running in a hamster
Yeah.
wheel for money. You're doing
Well, and
something.
also it's like, okay, great, you're earning some money, but if you're earning money by standing in place, like marching in place, what's the fucking point? I'd rather not do that and then go out and have some fun or help, you know, or donate my time to charity or something useful in my life than just somebody say, hey, I'll pay you $10 to stand there in place for the next 5 hours and march in place. Well, that's just so dumb, you know? And then on top of that, every single step I take, I'm actually like creating more ozone, you know, depleting chemicals somehow. You know, it's just like,
Yeah,
no, this is stupid.
yeah.
So I love the fact that making a little bit of Banano and helping science, you know, helping cancer research or
Hmm.
helping, you know, like whatever. It's like that's amazing. And I feel like there's not enough of that in the cryptocurrency community in general. And so I really latch on to projects that think about what they put into the world, as opposed to putting it into the world and expecting other people to kind of like clean up after it. Like those are and
Hmm.
those are two
For
different.
sure.
And I've talked about it in the past in episodes where you have Bitcoin on one extreme end of the spectrum, where they say we are just going to do whatever we want and let the world kind of fix it. You know, like solve the problems that we create. And then you have something like Nano and Banana, where it's like, no, these are the problems. We want to create a cryptocurrency around that to actually solve those problems and keep fixing it as we go. That's amazing. And then you have and then you have like the spectrum of everybody in between there on some level. Um, so it's
Yeah.
really nice to think about community driven projects that actually benefit the community, not just the people invested in Banano. Because
Yeah, it's not just about bag
yeah,
holders, it's about everyone involved. I want to have no Banano and still benefit from like if I have no Banano and I don't benefit from Banano, that's a sad story because people should be benefiting from stuff without having to
yeah.
hold it.
I mean, yeah, perfect. That's great. That's a great way to say it.
All right. I'm just going to jump back to this whole what's the relationship to the
Okay.
nano
Yeah, yeah,
community question because I think I can hit on this a little bit better and say that like so for development, they do both teams do
okay.
talk. There is a lot of cross communication because it's in everyone's best interest. Like for example, with the nano spam attacks, when that solution gets rolled out, like we're going to do the
Yeah,
same. We're going because yeah, why wouldn't we? Um, and they're going to do the same if we come up with some kind
yeah,
of a solution. In terms of the communities, and I think this is a very important point that I would like to touch on, is that tribalism is not okay under any circumstance. And I'm just going to put my foot down and say it. Like saying that there's a different, saying that you're a nano person or a banana person or something like that, like, no, that is not a thing. You can be both. And in fact, it is basically because of Banano that I use Nano so much, and it is because of Nano that I use Banano so much. So it's completely unfair to say otherwise,
Yeah.
right? Like, they are linked at the hips, and they're not going to go. That's not going away. They help each other dramatically. There's so much stuff happening, and the education side of things is so undervalued in terms of, like, if someone comes in and learns about Banano, they learn about Nano at the same
Yeah.
time. The same thing. If you make a private key and a wallet for Banano, the same key works for your Nano wallet. So you already have a Nano wallet. You just don't know it yet. Like, if you are if you touch Banano in any essence, you've touched Nano and you've used it. And so if you ever go to use Nano, it's not unfamiliar to you. Calcium and natrium look
Yeah.
the same. You understand the explorers because they look the same. Like, there's a deep synergy between these two communities, and anyone who kind of like thinks that that might not be the case, and that, like, maybe there's leeching happening or something like that, like, they're just sorely confused, and they need to just sit down, take a look at what's happening, and realize that everybody wins so deeply off this. Like, let me just give an example in terms of, like, news. So it's not it's not a secret that the most popular forms of, like, absorbing the news media is through satirical news, things like late night
Yeah.
shows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. If people are going to hear that the world is ending, they at least want to hear it from some guy who's telling it to them sarcastically.
Like an English guy with glasses.
So exactly, like the comedic aspect of delivering information is so important because it almost gamifies the learning aspect for that person. And so, like, I bet people don't really clue into how much crypto they've learned through the memes they've seen while browsing
Yeah.
crypto. Or I really don't think that people kind of realize that, like, that strange dude throwing a banana around on a Discord taught them how to send a transaction and then withdraw it from their wallet, and therefore make a wallet and
Osmosis.
know what an
Yeah.
address is. And, like, it there's so much education happening, especially, like, meme coins. Like, Doge does an undeniably huge service to
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable the amount of value that Doge brings to the Bitcoin community, and anyone who would think otherwise, in my opinion, is a fool.
So
And I believe it's the same for this.
So everything's been pretty much a softball at this point. Here's a tough question for you then.
Nice.
Do you think it does a disservice to either of them to have such similar communities separated and dividing their time as opposed to coming together and focusing on one project?
See, I think that's part of me would like to answer and say yes, just because, like, I can see why that would make sense. But honestly, I don't agree. And my reason for that is that they're not the same in terms of, like, the way the communities operate. And I don't think that like, it's kind of, I don't really know how to describe it any other way than, like, the Nano community would not want to read the things I post into the Nano jungle.
Fair.
Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like the vast majority of the people who are posting in the jungle would agree with me and say that the Nano community would not want to read the things that they are writing in
Yeah.
there. Like,
Well, people who like to
and the
meme
vast majority
drive me crazy. I can't handle it because I want to just get there and get the information. I don't want to I don't want to scroll through 17 pages of memes.
get your
Yeah.
emojis out of here. I'm trying to
And
ask
vice
a good point.
versa.
Yeah, I get it, man. And
It's like, but like
yeah.
that doesn't mean that they're wrong and I'm right. It just means that I'm different and I'm using social media for a different purpose. And it doesn't mean that I'm
I guess I just have to be honest and say that I don't think I would have made it through as positively as I had after the whole BitGrail and everything thing. if it was not for this. And I know a lot of other people may have felt the same way, where like this was kind of like that shining light that made everything kind of just feel
Yeah.
okay. Um, and it wasn't about money at all, because everyone had just lost so much freaking money. It was never going to be about the money. It was all it was all just about the fact that like we just needed to get like, tighten up our boots and get together and go for a walk and talk.
I never really think about it because I didn't lose any. I luckily had gotten off all my Nano from BitGrail, and I had like at the peak I had like $2,000 total worth of Nano. So it wasn't. So if I had lost that, it wouldn't. I mean, it would have, as a bartender actor, it would have been really tough. But I forget that a lot of people lost like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And I think that gets kind of washed away in a lot of the BitGrail stuff sometimes of, this is people's entire life, tied up in this. And that's tough. I mean, it's always tough anytime, and yeah. And it wasn't a hack. It was just theft.
It is, for sure.
It was straight up theft from the person that you were trusting your money with. Yeah. And that's just a brutal thing to have to go through.
It's not good.
So I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Memes are important.
And I'm glad.
Well, hey, I'm okay. I'm not trying to say that I was really affected very much. Like, to be fair, I didn't have any funds on BitGrail either. I had funds that got wrecked, but I didn't have funds on BitGrail. I know people I know the people who lost the hundreds of thousands or the millions of dollars. And I can't imagine being them. I empathize for them, and I understand that. I've had people say that they needed a place to reach out to and talk, and just talk, right? Like, not talk about tech, not talk about, just talk. Like, people want to come in and ask you, how's your day going? And then they want to vent about what happened at work. And then they want to, that kind of stuff. And we do that in the jungle. I know so many people and their lives and what they do on a daily basis. And like, we almost never talk about Banano specifically. It's like, you don't even need to, because you're using it. And like, the conversations will come up when they happen. But it's more about friendships. And
it reminds me of World of Warcraft
people at their core. Yeah, I hear so many wholesome stories about these World of Warcraft guilds getting, these guys have been playing together for 15 years. They got together and met for the first time.
I mean,
it's the same. I'll be honest. I've done meetups with Banano people, and I thought I was going to be like meeting some weird internet troll guys. I'm like, man, I'm going to go meet these strange Banano people. I was actually nervous. And then I show up, and it turns out that I'm the weird internet troll guy. And like, I show up, and like, one guy, like, he owns he owns a business, he's got kids, he's like successful. Other guys like, a GM of some other big industry thing, big factory. And I'm sitting here being like, I make memes and post them a lot. Like, I am the person that I was afraid to meet. I realized at that point that like, there's so many genuinely amazing people hidden behind these strange pseudonym names on places like Discord and Reddit and stuff. And like, it's super cool. Like, I've made some amazing friends that genuinely have changed my life. I mean, I had no background in cryptocurrency or technology or anything like that before finding it, right? You just stumble into it and you're like, yep, this is the rabbit hole I'm going to fall down.
So, okay. So then what do you technically do for the team?
Right now, I'm a community manager. So my role specifically is to help oversee the people, the grunt work, stuff like that. So there's the developers who work on the core protocol, and then there's us who work on things like running the events and scheduling the distribution stuff like that. Nice. Got to do working on things like the marketing content, the announcements, the moderation of the server, which is an unbelievably large task because the Banano server is an economy. It is a micro economy. There's people who live off the incomes. There's people who like, we have a police force, the Banano Republic Police Department, like, where you don't want to go to Bantanamo. BRPD will put you there. And so it's like, it's
hysterical.
A real thing. Like,
oh my God. I should have.
Oh man, we have to.
I should have gotten to the Discord before the interview, but hearing about it from you is I think just as exciting. So
it's probably more fun that way. Yeah. Like, So if you're misbehaving, like we'll put you in the slammer. We'll throw you in
Bantanamo.
Bantanamo. You'll sit there for a timeout. Bantanamo jail. Yeah, you'll sit there for a timeout. So if you get arrested, it locks you to just that one channel where you just kind of sit there by yourself and relax until
And
you're ready
think
to come
about
back
what
and
you
hang out.
did.
Oh man, you'd be shocked at how many times we have to use that thing because yeah, like when there's money on the line and people hang out there. Like okay, let me just give you myself as an example. Before I was a Banano community manager and things like that, like I was just a dude in the chat
Yeah.
shit posting. And I just got so active and so ingrained that I eventually had to become part of the team because it was like, well, I was already doing all this stuff. So, like I'm already part of the team. You just haven't given me the title. But before that, like I just basically lived in the chat, just hanging out, making friends, sending tips, playing games. And there was dozens and dozens of other people who did the same thing. And it didn't, you got in a fight, you'd come back the next day. It was super weird. You're like siblings, where you're like, I hate you. And then 3 hours later, you're playing video games together. Like totally that. So, like things get really heated. You'll both get sent to Bantanamo. You'll get muzzled. You'll sit there and breathe
You
for an
just
hour,
stare
and
at
then you
each
come back and
other.
you're like, "Hey, dude, how are you?" Yeah, you're just tipping each other back and forth an hour later as if it never happened. It's crazy.
I don't think people realize like that's crazy how much commerce is happening in a Discord on a Discord server. That's wild. How much
Mm-hmm.
volume do you think per day is happening? Do you have any sense?
Oh goodness, I couldn't. I personally, I couldn't really give you an educated guess, but I would say that like in terms of trades, we used to have like we called it the bazaar, and we used to have an actual trading channel, and the bot could do escrow trades like built in between. You could trade Nano Banano like directly through the bot and things like that. But Discord changed their terms of service, and we had to remove it for fear that they might like shut down the server because that would be a
Gotcha. Yeah.
disaster. So now most of the trading just kind of happens behind closed doors, like in DMs and things like that. So it's impossible for me to actually say what's
And what are
happening.
people trading for?
Primarily for cash, primarily for like things like bolivars, and not. I wouldn't say so much dollars. People do trade for other coins so that they can get them to exchanges or things like that. But there's also a lot of trading between Banano and Wax. So Wax is an NFT project that's doing a
Yeah.
lot of
Like
interesting things. And one of the things that we've done,
gaming NFT system, right? Or is it strictly NFTs?
Wax is a blockchain that's like I wouldn't say it's strictly NFTs, but that's definitely their primary
Okay.
focus. Um, and yeah, so what we made a Crypto Monkeys series. Soggy Apple Pie, who's one of the other team members, has made working on a community series called Crypto Monkeys along with Bantano. And so basically, what they're doing is making NFTs on the Wax blockchain themed after Banano, and then they're giving them out to the community as well. And we're also trying to find fun use cases for using them with Banano. And one of the things that people have been doing a lot of is selling the cards or buying the cards using Wax that they've traded for
Gotcha.
Banano.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is, is it
So there's a
essentially
lot
kind
of
of like a Bitcoin meetup where they meet up in the Discord and then they go off and then they do a trade?
yeah. That would probably be that'd probably be the best way to say it because they aren't actually trading directly in the server. I don't think we'd be allowed to let them even if we wanted to. So it's best just to say, hey, like there are other servers that are kind of like not super important, valuable hubs that could never
Yeah.
be nuked that people could like if you want to deploy a server and make it a trade server and Discord wants to nuke it, like, hey, I'm not for or against that idea. I'm not telling you to go do anything wrong, but it's up to you at that point. But for the Banano server, like, oh my gosh, if that thing ever got shut down, that would be a disaster.
See, we definitely need
So
a see, it's kind of like that whole thing, like you said earlier, like, what did you say earlier? What we were talking about? Like this is why we can't have nice things or something, or like people ruin.
yeah, I did
So
say
it's
that.
like a decentralized Discord sounds amazing until turns into like a Nazi paradise, and you're like, "Fuck, what the fuck? Why can't we just have nice things without you guys ruining everything?"
Yeah, there needs to be a certain level of censorship amongst that stuff, which is too bad, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. It's important to realize that Banano, the protocol, like Banano, the blockchain, and Banano, the Discord, are like, they're
Yeah.
not the same, right? Like one is censorship resistant and permissionless and all that stuff, and the other is very much censored and very much managed, and it has to be. You can't just leave 22,000 people with money on the line to just figure it out. You wouldn't believe the kind of nonsense I have to read on a daily basis.
Like, is there something like that jumps out at you that you feel comfortable saying on the show?
um, like, was it maybe a week or two ago? We had someone basically telling us that their husband was going to kill them if we didn't send them Banano.
What? Oh my god!
I was like, we don't even know you. What is happening here? Like, get a new
It's
husband.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
god. Okay, yeah, that's
it became like a thing where like it was like a cultural and racial thing where like he was threatening to like post pictures of her face, and I guess because her face is hidden, that's totally not okay. And if her face was revealed, then something
oh
bad
my
would happen.
god.
And then she came to us asking for help, and then he found out that she came and started threatening, and there's like, good Christ, like we are a meme coin with monkeys. Like, what the actual fuck? So, and I swear that's not even like an outrageous story, man. Like, we deal with crazy stuff all the time. Begging. People will send me pictures. I've had people send me pictures of dead people and just be like, I need
Oh
money. It's like,
god.
shit. What do I what do I
Yeah.
do? Like,
Ugh. That, I mean, that's, I think people just forget about that kind of stuff where it's just like, people who become rich say they lose a lot of friends because everyone starts coming with their hand out, and it's just like, yeah.
mhm.
And somebody like MC Hammer, dude,
Yeah, I
poor
can
MC
see it.
Hammer, he just wanted to help all his friends, and then he went bankrupt. Poor guy. So
Oh, that's the hate. Yeah, I hate to
yeah,
hear it.
but honestly, for somebody like him, like he literally put every single one of his friends on staff, and just eventually just ran out of money, and just like,
Oh, that's so
yeah.
sad. That's on his friends too. Like, what? Come on, like you got to help the guy out too. You got to like.
Or
Oh,
maybe,
I
yeah,
don't
maybe
know.
they just
That's
didn't know. Maybe he was hiding it. He didn't want to like let them down. Or, I mean, you hear about that kind of stuff where people like
yeah,
him,
too
where it's just
proud to
like
say
their
it kind of
hearts are
thing.
so big, it's like almost too big. They got to learn how to, say no every once in a while. Because if they go down,
Yeah, a point of leadership. Like leadership is dangerous for that
yeah,
reason. I agree. Like if you are him and you like just care so much that you'll cause yourself like you'll put yourself into a point of complete self
yeah,
destruction. Like, well, that doesn't help
yeah,
you
because they
or
all
them
go down
because
with
then
you.
once you're destroyed, like that. Exactly. Like you've just destroyed yourself and now they're going down anyway. So
That's okay. So I guess, so last question: what do you see the long term goal of Banano? Like, do you ever see yourself moving away from
um
memes? Do you like ever becoming like like quote unquote legit, like, suit and tie, or like how do you um envision the relationship between Nano and Banano in the real world, 20 years from now? Or is that something,
mhm.
and you can honestly say that you
I
haven't even thought about it. You just post memes, and that's totally
no
fine.
no, I
Okay.
have. I have for sure. It's just I I definitely don't see a day where I'm taking things seriously. And I think that's on purpose. Um, because the second it starts being taken seriously and it stops losing the fun, we've lost the essence of what we were originally
Yeah.
going for. So the education's like everyone will tell you Banano is something different to them, and that's kind of like the beauty of having a decentralized community project that has no like specific use case. Like if you're a DeFi protocol and you're like, this is what we do, then people go, that's what they do. But Banano, that's up to the person. And for me, Banano educates. So I'm sure that not everyone views Banano as, what does Banano do? Educates. Other people might view it as instant feeless transfer or a meme coin, or you can call it whatever you want. But for me, Banano is education. And I don't think that value proposition should ever be taken away, because like memes are education, right? Comedy is education when delivered
Yeah.
properly. Like they're they're like they're accessory pieces.
Well, it's also
In
like
terms of
a
like,
spoonful of sugar helping the medicine go down sometimes.
yes,
We
exactly,
need it.
exactly. And then there's also things like, are memes gonna ever stop? No, memes are what drives crypto
Yeah.
completely, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And so, like, look at Doge. Just look at it. So I don't, yeah, like, and then now you have to take into account that like NFTs are happening, and Banano's really we're really going out of our way to try to figure out a solution for the NFT thing within
Yeah.
what we're doing. I actually had a call about an hour before this one where I talked with a team about maybe setting up a solution for sort of like bridging the gap between what is Banano currently, which is like an ecosystem of people excited to do content creation, and then NFTs, which are content creation looking for
Yeah.
people. So like there is definitely a relationship that needs to be mixed there, and we will do that. And like between the raps and all this stuff, like we're gonna see a lot of stuff. Like I think it's important to take into account that Banano is hilarious, but Banano is not a joke. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah.
sense per
Yeah.
se, but like there is some serious shit happening under the hood. But if I show up in a clown car with a massive race car engine in it, like it's still a
Yeah.
clown car, and that's the point. Is like I want to rip down the track in a
Yeah.
clown car. I still want to win the race, but I want to do it in a clown car. I don't want to. And yeah, we're not going anywhere anytime soon from this. I don't think. Like I, I never see a day where we take ourselves too seriously, and if we do, then really, what's the value prop to me? Because yeah, like meme coin, I personally, I really see the value of meme coins as a whole, as a whole. Like they have a very specific and important use case to the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and we hit on a point that no other meme coin hits. So we found our niche. We don't need to change anything. Um, like Doge might be a meme coin, but like now that its price is rising and stuff, like it's not the ideal tipping solution anymore. Honestly, it wasn't really to begin with, because like its block times aren't super
Yeah.
fast. So you still have to pay a transaction fee, and like it's not the ideal tipping currency where Banano is, or things like that, right? Like you can't beat instant, you can't beat feeless. Like there's nothing cheaper than zero. Um,
And it's nice
and
to get a big
with
number. It's nice to get like 10 Banano or 100 Banano for a tip. That's feels good.
People don't want to send decimal
Yeah.
tips. Actually, I can give you an amazing example because we learned that firsthand. The Nano tip bot within the Banano server used to deal in decimals, so kind of like Satoshis. 1 million nanaroo was a
Okay.
nano. So yeah, so we dealt in nanoroos, and so it was super common to tip like 420 nanoroos, which is like, what's that, like 420 millionths of a
Because they have
nano?
what,
Is that
like
right?
32
I guess.
decimals? Something like that? 28 decimals?
Oh, we were going by, so 1 million
No, I'm
nanaroo
saying how many decimals does Nano
was a
have?
nano. Oh, I don't actually know. That's a good question. Because once you start factoring in raw and stuff, I get
Yeah.
real confused.
Yeah, it's so hard
Um,
to think in those terms.
the technical guys, they're gonna laugh at me when they hear this, because they're like, "This guy has no idea what he's
You're
talking
like,
about."
this
It's
is
like, you know
something we
what, man?
said
I'm
to
not even
talk
trying to
about
deny
it.
that.
It's okay.
Yo, dev guys are code wizards. I can dabble in that stuff a little bit, but I know where I stand, and
Yeah.
that's where I talk to people, I educate, I
No,
deliver
it's
the
great.
message,
It's
and
great.
I do it damn well. So you got to pick a job, right? You can't sit there and be a man of all
You know what?
hats.
I
That's
gave
never
up
going to work in a space
trying to
like
code
this.
and for crypto, and I realized like, yeah, this is what I do. I talk to people. I share my thoughts.
Crypto needs a
Yeah,
social layer,
it
man. It's the
does.
social currency that really gives it its
It
value.
does.
And if no one was talking about it, then it doesn't matter who
Yeah.
codes what. So I think long term, to answer your question, we're going to keep staying the course. As for distribution and what will happen after that, that is a mystery for everybody involved. I do think that things are going to get very fun when that happens, because now it's on the people to incentivize and make their own profits and their own
Yeah.
games, and like that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see more people approach me with event ideas that they're paying for, and that they're going to run, and that I'm just like helping them advertise and market to the community, as opposed to like, generally speaking, as it stands now, people mostly come to me with ideas, and then we build it together, and then we as a team deliver it, and it's very much like it's very laborious
Yeah.
on our end, and which isn't duplicatable at all, and therefore just not
Do
scalable.
people do joint events like Nano slash Banano, or is it usually one or the other?
That would be amazing. We haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen very little of that. So I would love to see more of that. I would love to see more projects decide to like partner hand in hand, because like we have an amazing community, and more importantly, we have an amazing community of
Yeah.
users. We don't have a community that just sits there and goes, oh, number go up. Like we have a community that sits there and pumps transactions through the blockchain every single day just for shits. Like there are thousands of projects chomping at the bit to get at something like that.
Nice.
So I don't think that's like a lack of, I think it's also just like a quality thing where we know we have something incredibly special, and it's dangerous on our end to go making deals and conversations with other projects that we don't necessarily have the same vetting
Yeah.
structure for. So like with Banano, at least we know if everyone's dedicating their time to that, and we know at our core that we're wholesome and we're doing the right thing, that we know that the people who are following us will
Yeah.
be safe, right? Crypto is, it really scares me that someone could dedicate years of their time towards a project, and then one day people just be like, well, that's it. Because there's a lot of projects that are so
Oh
centralized
yeah.
still that if 5 or 6 people chose to shut down their nodes, like that's
It's
it. You're
crazy.
screwed.
Well, I told
It's
Patrick
really
when he was on the
sad.
show that when things get safe, whether it's next year or 2 years down the road or whatever. I have family in Austin now, so I was like, I'll come out to Austin. We'll do a Nano meetup, but maybe we can do a Nano slash Banano meetup, because I know he was like, I'll drive to Austin, so maybe we can do that and get
Yeah,
everybody out there and
I would love something
talk
like
about
that.
stuff like that.
Every Banano meetup I've ever been to was amazing. We've gone go karting, we've we've had all nighters sitting in hot tubs. Like, oh, it's always been a good time.
Do you all wear yellow
Yeah,
shirts?
I, um, I did wear a banana. I did wear a shirt with a banana on it the one time, but no, we should look into that. Although, so I part of what we do at Banana, or like part of what I do at Banana, is help manage a website called the Daily Peel. So it's daily-peel.com, and essentially it's like a community newspaper. We also have an event calendar and stuff like that. And so we've started working on like a community merch collection that people will be able to get their hands on. So now when we start going to meetups, we'll be able to actually like rep the
Nice.
gear.
And I'll have that list in the show
Yeah.
notes. Um, we'll have to go through.
The Daily Peel is a good reference. Absolutely. It's one of those places that like that's where you'll get that's where you'll see the event calendars. That's where you'll find out if you can attend like a trivia event or a contest or some design thing. That's where you'll see that's where you'll see newspaper like news articles with like tutorials, or if you want an explanation on wrapped banana or folding it home, like that's where you can find it.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that I feel like as somebody who shills Nano so much on Twitter and on this show, just from a technical standpoint, just like I like it from a technical standpoint because from a clean energy standpoint, I still don't really interact with the community outside of Twitter, and I feel like I don't really know anything that's going on, and it's nice that you have the Daily Peel because like I feel like with
Mhm.
Nano, I'm like, oh, I hear stuff like, through like third person or something like that, and I need to like actually start participating in the various communities that so I feel like even though I have this show, I can still like communities and participate in communities, and I don't need to feel bad about it. Um, So I need to start actively participating more in those ways. What else? Is there anything else you want to get off your chest, or you feel like we missed?
I think we did a pretty good job
Yeah,
of covering it. I really am excited for the future of this whole thing. It just keeps getting. I can't even believe that it's been so long. Every day, it's like it's all meshed into one long, amazing day at this point. Um, I'm really, really excited for people to get the chance to try something. Like, go get a free coin, send it back and forth, play ping pong with your mom. My mom has Banano. So does my dad. Go show your parents. Like they're gonna see a monkey. They're gonna see a simple wallet, and boom, now they're using some cryptocurrency. Like my whole family has coins. All my friends have coins. Everybody knows me as the Banano guy. I've even pitched it to local government, and I say that proudly.
What was their response?
Like they obviously they thought I was joking, but I was, because it's a meme coin. So what do you say? Like, I could just go, ha ha, ha, it's a meme coin. Yeah, I was totally joking. No. I did totally pitch to them the idea of using something like, not using Banano per se, but like looking into the idea of cryptocurrency, and then if that's the case, like looking into something like Nano. Maybe not specifically Nano. Maybe they need to, maybe they want to fork it and make their own just proprietary one or something. But definitely look into what is happening here on like a social and technological level, because there is something magical happening here. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Don't let your memes be dreams.
It's a great line. That's good. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. That was very informative, and I'm glad I had you on, because I've always kind of thought of Banano as like the stepchild of Nano, and now I'm realizing that was not even remotely true, and not the case for the community. And I'm glad I
Yeah, I'd like to consider us the loving sibling.
I mean, it makes more sense. I mean, you're like the younger brother, younger sister. It just doesn't. It's just like, and that can sometimes be better, because the parents made all the mistakes with the first child, and now have a clean slate with the second child.
As a first child, I felt that to my core.
So, all right. Well, how can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you?
Easiest way I'm going to say is Discord. You can reach out to me on any platform you wish, and I will try to answer. My username on most platforms is Irrelephant Oops. I'm just going to say the Discord one because it's simpler, but my username on Discord is Oops, number 0420. And the Banano Discord server, you can access it by going to chat.banano.cc, and then you'll fill out a little CAPTCHA and get an invite code to enter the server. This is a sort of bot spam prevention system, so please don't be alarmed. And basically, yeah, once you drop in, give me a tag. Say, hey, I found out about it through the podcast. I'll send you some free Banano to get you started. As I'm excited, I'll teach you in your DMs how to withdraw it to a wallet. I will spend the time. I'm serious. If you're new to crypto and you're listening to this and you're like, shit, I don't know how to send a transaction, like, I will show you. I don't even care what cryptocurrency it is. It doesn't have to be Banano. I'll show you how to use private keys and stuff like that. I'm notorious for spending like an hour or two walking noobs through the whole spiel. So I will do that. You got to
I'm that way too.
Do the grunt work if you want to push the vision forward. Yeah, we need more people like you.
I even help people like with
it.
Bitcoin wallets. And I was like,
exactly.
Like it makes my skin crawl. But at the end of the day, I want to help this person. So I will help them,
Yeah. I know how I felt when I first joined. I was just looking at Reddit and I was just confused as all hell. So I hope no one else has to ever be in those shoes and they can just reach out and get all those problems or questions answered immediately.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they have somebody in you, and that's good. We definitely need more people like us,
and you,
who actively try to help.
Yes, we do.
People learn about this stuff. And I'll have all the information in the show notes for anybody listening. So don't, just read those, and then we'll have all the links and everything. So, well, thanks for coming. hope
This has been a lot of fun. Thanks, man. I
Yeah,
look forward to coming back.
definitely. And then we'll try to like once everything clears up, we'll try to get like we'll have to do some kind of meetup or something like that, because I definitely want to get communities that have fun together. So
okay, sounds good. And after these show notes, I promised you I'd message you about setting up Mr. G's classroom for I believe you said your uncle, right?
Definitely. All right,
okay, awesome.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening, and talk to you next time.